Welcome to OLC 4.0. It is term 2B. We are on class 20, and we're going to be looking at assignment 28, part B today, and assignment 29. And at that point, we will be finished unit 2. Today is May 20th, 2025, and this is Jillian Percy. Here are all the ways to contact us. The studio number is 1-800-465-7144. That's if you want to talk to me while I'm on the air. The office phone number is 1-800-667-3703, and my extension is 2211. I have two emails. My most common one is jillian.percy@nnec.on.ca. I also have one, jillian.percy@nnecschools.org. That's the one I find that students usually use if they want to share a Google Doc with me that they've done an assignment on. You can also reach out to me on Facebook, capital G, capital P, ERCY, space, capital W, AHSA. If you send me a message there, please let me know what your proper student name is, what course you're taking with me, and what questions you have. A lot of times people just kind of send me a friend request, but then I don't even know for sure if you're taking a course with me, because sometimes I get random friend requests from people that aren't my students either. So just let me know ahead of time so I'm prepared when I get into the conversation. There are two different YouTube channels for this course. One is the school channel, which is called WASA Distance Education Center YouTube channel. And you can see it down there on the bottom. That has all the courses from all the teachers from this year. However, it has the term 1 version of this course. It does not include the term 2B. Now, there are no significant differences in the assignments. Sometimes I cover slightly more on one day than the other day. If you're looking for the version that I'm doing right now over April, May, June, then you'd go to my teacher YouTube channel, and there will be a playlist that says OLC 42 term 2B. So you would go to that playlist to look for the classes I'm recording right now. Okay. The most commonly asked question is how to hand in assignments. And the truth is there are a lot of different ways to hand in assignments because we try and make it easy on people. And we know different people have different levels of technology in their communities. So if you are able to, one of the easiest ways is simply sending me your document as an attachment in an email to studentwork@nnec.on.ca. Even when you send me stuff directly, I always route it back through there. That way the secretary can log that you've submitted the work, and always make sure to include your full name, the course name, the assignment name, and number. If an assignment asks for a rough and a good draft, please label which one is which. Now, I've got here to include them both in the same email. You don't have to include them both in the same email, but what I find happens is sometimes people will only send me one and they don't label it, so I don't know what I'm looking at. So keep that in mind. Other ways to hand in assignments, you can give it to the DEC at your learning center. They can scan it and send it to me through the email that way. That's a lovely way to do it. You can also fax it to me, 1-800-463-7852. That's if you're in Ontario. If you're outside of Ontario, 1-877-990-2023. Like I said, some people share documents with me through Google Docs. You can mail it to me, but it's very slow, so I don't recommend it. If you do that, make sure to hand on to the originals and only send me your copies. Some people use photographs, and they will send me the photographs in Facebook or an email. When you do that, please make sure the photograph is really clear and easy to read, and that it's big enough for me to read. Every now and again, I'll have somebody put like 5 tiny little photographs on one page, and I can't see them. And even if I try to expand them, because they've gone through the email, they don't have the same quality as when you took them, and I can't really expand them effectively and get the same resolution. You can also scan it yourself using a scanner app on your phone. That generally produces a really good quality, much better than just doing a photograph, okay? So this is a little poster that shows all the steps for how to scan something. This one is based on Adobe Scanner, which is a free app. I use it for my own tax documents and stuff. It's reliable. It's pretty easy to use. Once you've installed it, you open it back up. and you just kind of hold it over your assignment and take the picture. You can see there's some little blue dots that line up with the corners that you can play with if you need to. You can also adjust the borders if you ended up like getting a little bit of your table or something in there. And then you just keep on doing steps 2 and step 3 over and over again until all the pages for your assignment are in there. Then tap continue. At that point, you can preview it, put it in order, retake a photograph if you need to, then hit save PDF and give it a name. Obviously, you're going to want to include the assignment number and probably the course name, especially if you're taking several different courses from us, and then save it in some fashion, whether you save it to Google Drive or Dropbox or whatever you do to save it, then send me an email and send it along. It does just produce a much better quality than the photographs do. So we are currently in week 6 of this 9-week course, so we're 2/3 of the way through. Remember, the last day of our term is June 13th. We generally reserve that for exams only. Typically, the very last day we accept actual assignments is June 12th. So that would be, it's the Wednesday or the Thursday. This course does not have an exam, okay? It only has a long culminating activity. It will take between 5 to 10 hours to complete. Now, I'm being generous there with 10 hours. It depends a little bit on how quickly you write. Some people like loads and loads of time to think of it and will do like 5 different drafts. Other people will do something very quick. It really depends on how you write. But please don't try to leave this assignment until like June 12th, especially if you work full time, it will be too hard to complete. Generally, once you start unit 3 or 4, ask me for the culminating activity or ask your DEC for it if you're in a learning center. So you've got plenty of time to work on it because it's worth 20% of your overall grade. So that can bump your marks 2 whole grades. You can go from a D to a B if you do well in that culminating activity. So it's a really important thing. Now, if you are a potential graduate for this June, I really strongly recommend completing all your assignments by May 30th, which is next week. Okay, it's coming up on us because it takes me a really long time to do all the marking. I already have quite a stack of marking that I'm working my way through. I have 134 students in this course. If everybody leaves it to the last day, there's no possible way I can get it all done in time for grad, okay? Let me know if you are a potential grad. I normally am somewhat aware of it already. And if you aren't sure, check with me. If you are running behind in your assignments and you think, you know what, no matter what, I'm probably not going to finish by June 13th, that's fine. You can enroll in the summer version of the course and just continue your work then. I will also be doing marking in the summer, but there are no live classes during the summer term, and I don't have office hours, so I won't be here to reach. So if you want to enroll in the summer term, if you go to our Facebook page called WASA Distance Education Center, I think it's called the new page up here, right? Because there's an older one. You can see right here, there's an online application for WASA. You would click on it and it includes our registration. If you don't have great internet access, you can also just call the office and tell them that you want to register for the summer term, and they will probably fill it out for you, okay? Or send me an email and I can kind of work on that with you. All right, moving on to our learning goals. Lot of learning goals today. Oh my goodness. All right, so we are going to use appropriate strategies to expand your vocabulary through reading and writing. Use your knowledge of the organizational structure of a variety of graphic texts to identify the purpose of a text, locate information, and extract pertinent details. Explain how the form of a graphic text helps the reader understand the information or message. Use appropriate strategies to activate and build on prior knowledge of the content of the graphic selections. Now, I'm going to just kind of highlight. Same thing, but also to locate information, also to make inferences about and interpret different types of texts, and also to make connections about different types of texts and demonstrate understanding. Okay, those are all about graphic text, which is what we're working on right now with this lesson. And okay, so we are working on expanding vocabulary. On Thursday, we were talking about suffixes, and we're going to be talking about suffixes today and probably tomorrow a little bit. There are so many different suffixes in English, okay? And once you know what certain suffixes mean, it can help you to figure out new or unfamiliar words. Most people speaking English use about 20,000 words actively. And we often recognize about 40,000 more words that we don't necessarily use in our everyday speech. That's according to dictionary expert Susie Dutt. However, there are a lot more words in the English language than that. The second edition of the 20-volume series called the Oxford English Dictionary contains full entries for 171,476 words that are in current use and close to 50,000 words that are obsolete that no longer get used. So that's almost over 200,000 words in the language. So everybody, no matter what, at every level, is always encountering new words in books and new topics that they're reading about. So knowing what a suffix means is just kind of one tool to help you puzzle out the meaning of new words. All right. One thing to know is that a suffix can be used to change one part of speech to another. So for example, a lot of emotions, the words for emotions are adjectives describing how a person feels, like an angry man, a sad boy, a confused puppy, animals as well. But if we want to talk about the emotion itself, rather than using it to describe a person or an animal or something, we need to switch it into a noun. And the way we do that is by adding the suffix ness at the end. And ness just kind of means the idea of a state of something or the condition of or the quality of. So sad becomes sadness, which is just defined as the state of being sad. And then you can discuss it as an idea or condition, like sadness can be tiring when it goes on for too long. Some other examples of feelings that we work that way, mad becomes madness, happy becomes happiness, anxious, anxiousness, fearful, fearfulness, calm, calmness, hyper, hyperness, joyful, joyfulness. Feelings are not the only adjectives that can be changed into a noun by adding the suffix ness. Clean can become cleanness, full, fullness, bouncy, bounciness, light, lightness, dark, darkness, messy, messiness. Okay. When we do this, when we add that suffix, it changes how you use the word in a sentence. And this is the part that can be a bit tricky because the word still looks very similar to the original version and it has a similar meaning, but they're not 100% interchangeable in a sentence because they do different jobs now. So the word dark versus darkness. Dark is an adjective, and it can be used to describe a person, place, or thing, such as the dark basement was scary to walk into at night. Darkness is a noun that names the condition of being dark. The darkness was peaceful after the hot sunny day. Certain plants need times in darkness in order to bloom properly. If I tried to write the darkness basement was scary to walk into at night, it just doesn't make sense in English because we don't normally use one noun to describe another one in that particular way in English. There are other suffix endings that you can add to adjectives that also will use to create a noun. I-T-Y, itty. Sometimes you'll see it's E-T-Y as well. It's also the idea of the state or condition of something. So responsible plus itty becomes responsibility and is like the quality of being responsible. Capable becomes capability, captive, captivity, active, activity. So as an adjective, he is an active child. I'm describing the child, right? Or I could be talking about the state of being active. Outdoor activities are a great way to stay healthy. So some other examples would be things like product, productivity, real, reality, rare, rarity, artificial, artificiality, complex, complexity, agile, agility, probable, probability. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but sometimes when we add that extra ending, it changes how we say that word a little bit. Like artificial, artificiality. All of a sudden it changes because we put the stress on a different syllable because we've added an extra syllable. It's not a hugely important thing, but sometimes because there's that small difference in pronunciation people don't always realize that those words are connected unless you see them right in front of you and realize, oh yeah, of course they're connected. Here's another example of how they can change in their meaning. The probable cause of death looks like drowning, so likely cause of death. The probability that you will win the lottery is low. There, we're not describing anything. We're talking about the concept of how likely something is, right? A little bit different. Okay. There are a lot of other suffix endings that we can add to adjectives to create a noun. Even this is just kind of a small idea. Some suffixes can also have more than one meaning. So the idea of ment, M-E-N-T, could mean a process like development. It could be a place where a certain action happens, like encampment. It can be a state or condition, like we've been talking about, resulting from an action like excitement. It can also be the means or instrument to create an action, such as entertainment. So appoint can become appointment, assign can become assignment, replace can become replacement. So I need to replace the tires soon. My replacement will be here in the afternoon. Okay, so all of these are relating to what we're able to do as we read a graphic text, using our knowledge of how the organizational structure is of a graphic text, explaining how the format helps us understand the message, using appropriate strategies to locate information, make connections, make inferences, activate and build on prior knowledge, and just basically demonstrating your understanding of a variety of graphic texts. Okay. Oh, sorry. Looks like I got a little bit. Oh, why does it want to do that? Hang on a second. Oh, okay. So assignment 28, part B, is the advertisement awareness poster. So in part A, which we did on Thursday, we were looking for magazine print ads, and then we were looking for certain people groups like senior citizens or children, and to see how they were portrayed in the ads. And remember I said hang on to them because we're going to use them for part B. So go back and look through the ads that you picked, pick one of them, and then we're going to work on that to do this particular assignment, which is basically you're creating a poster around that ad, okay? Think about which hooks, advertising tricks, I guess, basically, on the pages that follow are present in the ad by writing down the name of the hook. For example, in the ad that you're about to see, they feel that the hook of beautiful people gets used. Most ads, almost all ads, I would say, contain more than one hook or trick. So be sure to read the hooks below carefully and try to choose at least 3 or 4 that apply. When you do that, you want to explain how the hook functions in the exact ad that you've chosen, like specifically, not generally. So I'm going to show you an example on the next page. So here we've got an ad for milk. I'm going to kind of zoom in real quick just so you can kind of see the ad really quick. Hang on a second. Otherwise, it's kind of hard to do. My apologies. Oh, come on. Oh my goodness, sorry. Oh, it's being fussy. Hang on, let me see. Oh, it decided to jump. My apologies, that's weird. Okay. So here it is. It's a girl selling milk. So first of all, we've got famous people. That's the name of the hook. And then we describe how it's used. Using this famous singer in the ad makes the audience think, well, if she drinks milk, it must be good. I'm going to drink milk too. Femininity. This woman is very feminine. And if I drink milk, I will be too. Sex or sexiness. The girl in this ad is wearing a sexy red dress and looking suggestively into the camera. And then we've got vague promises. Down here in the information, it says kind of vaguely, some studies suggest that milk helps you stay slim. That's not the same thing as saying milk definitely will help you stay slim. It's an idea, it's a possibility. but they're making it sound like it's a definite promise, right? Beautiful people, she makes drinking milk look glamorous. Sure, because she's wearing this fancy red outfit. And then testimonials. Testimonials was when somebody speaks about why this product is good. So she's claiming that she drinks milk, so I should too. So advertising hooks are just kind of tricks or strategies to try to grab the audience's attention and play on your internal motivations, which we all have, right? Remember that most ads use multiple hooks to make them more convincing and more powerful. So when you pick your ad and do your poster, you need to list every type of hook that applies to your poster. You're going to also need to write a detailed description of how it specifically is applied to your particular ad. And I'm going to look at some of the hooks so you understand them. Now, I want to point something out. On Thursday, we spent a lot of time talking about how you can tell whether something is a magazine ad. And we also talked about how some things that might look like a magazine ad won't really work. This is where it becomes really crucially important, because if you just picked a magazine cover, it's not necessarily going to have a hook because they're not trying to sell anything. And so you're going to be frustrated because it'll be like, I don't understand. It's not working. It's not working because you didn't choose a magazine ad. So make sure that they're selling a product. What are they selling? You should be able to identify it. It may physically be in the ad, like she's eating a great big hamburger, so they're selling hamburgers, or it may just be implied. Sometimes, like if you're selling like lipstick, she may have some lipstick on, but it may not be, you might not see like a giant picture of her actual lipstick tube. So that can be a little bit tricky. All right, so let's talk about some of the hooks. Big lies, that's the name of the hook. These are exaggerated promises that are impossible to deliver, such as, this is Canada's best all-weather vehicle. That's also similar to like the idea of hype. More subtle examples include things like, eating corn pops will make you as strong as an Olympian. Which Olympian? Somebody doing wrestling or a gymnast, right? Here, we've got SEDEX talking about, trust us, we deliver it fast. And you can see there's a lady here and she's cracking an egg and she has her gas stove on and the egg is falling. And the idea is like, the pan is going to be there so quick, the egg won't have time to fall. This is obviously a lie. Like, clearly that's not true, right? Okay. 3 different examples here. Cute. Cute is children and animals always steal the show. Family and girl next door also fit this category. So here we've got a funny little cat that's going bald like an old man, and it says, they don't like it any more than you do. Treat pet hair loss with wild salmon oil. Woohoo! So they're trying to sell you some salmon oil to feed to your poor old man cat. And then emotional transfer. That's where they want you to look at the ad and feel a certain emotion so that you then transfer that emotion to the product itself. So for example, a Coke ad that shows happy, beautiful people doesn't tell us anything about Coke, but the point is just to make you feel good as you look at it and transfer that feeling to the brand or product. This is probably the #1 and most important process of advertising, or what they are referring to very cynically here as media manipulation. And then they talk about sex sells without exception. So then you can see the Budweiser ad. You've got a sexy girl in a very tiny little red bikini standing next to a Budweiser beer. Does she have anything to do with Budweiser beer? No, not at all. But there's kind of the idea that, you know, somehow you'll be sexy like her if you drink this beer, which I feel clearly is a lie, but anyways, there you go. Then we've got humor. Humor is a really common technique because it makes us feel good. We might even laugh. And when we talk about emotional transfer, we remember it and it makes us feel good. It makes us think about the product in a positive light. This is actually kind of a funny one because there was a study came out that showed Burger King's had way more fires in their restaurant than most other fast food places because they deliberately use flaming grills rather than an electric grill. And they kind of turned that on its head and made sort of a humorous ad about it. And it says flame grill since 1954. And then there's the restaurant on fire, basically, and a bunch of firemen kind of going. And it's unclear because they're walking pretty slow. Are they going to eat a burger? Are they going to put out the fire? What are they doing? Don't know for sure. Then we've got symbols. Symbols we've talked about in last lesson. They are easily recognized icons from our culture that will often generate powerful emotions, such as flags or crosses. So here for this motorcycle ad, they've got the peace sign going. And they're kind of playing with it also means something else. And do you know the symbol? And if all you see is a peace sign, you're probably not the right person to buy our motorcycle. Hype is don't believe it. Kind of like big lies, big exaggerated current claims. Canada's favorite coffee. Every mom's, perfect diaper, that kind of idea. It doesn't really mean anything. That doesn't mean that they necessarily did a survey and found it out. It just sounds good. So here it says cheating death, Palm Wonderful, the antioxidant superpower. And it's just a drink, right? But they've got like a little noose around it, and the noose is broken as if somebody were trying to hang this juice bottle to kill it, but it managed to escape because it's so powerful. Crazy ad. And then fitting in. Fitting in is a really common technique where they try to influence you by suggesting that, everybody else does this. So you'll see it in beer commercials where it'll be a whole bunch of people, all gorgeous, all drinking beer, all looking super happy, promoting the big lie that everybody drinks, and if you want to fit in, you need to drink too. But in fact, if you look at the actual data, the data shows that mostly the people that buy alcohol are usually already alcoholics, not just everybody. Okay. So then we've got fear messages. Fear messages are directed at our insecurities, like the things that we privately kind of worry about, like no one's going to like you if you've got bad dandruff, or if you smell bad, or bald people are losers. This is a really common technique, and extra attention is required to resist these messages. Now, I find these were far more common in the old days. I had a hard time finding more modern versions of this. They were brutal in the old time magazines, especially towards women. Man, they were just nasty. So here you've got a girl and she's taking her coat off and she's looking a little uncertain. And there's a guy really close to her, almost like his nose right in her hair, going, "Dare you take your coat off? Can you be certain underarm wetness won't show?" Because, God forbid a guy knew that you sweated. That'd be horrible, right? Because we're not supposed to sweat. And then there's another horrible one over here where it says, "A wife can blame herself if she loses love by getting middle-aged skin." Because again, apparently women are supposed to stay young forever magically. So there are, I'm sure do get these kind of ads these days, but they aren't quite as blunt as these ones where they want to encourage you to buy the product just because you're scared, right? Vague promises, we kind of talked about that a little bit already. They'll use what I think of as weasel words that sound good but don't really promise anything. Might, maybe, could, are thought to, seem to. Like super glue may heal cuts better than Band-Aids. Well, may or may not, right? They haven't told you which way it goes, right? So here we've got like a picture of a tree, and it says 1 meter squared of AIP treated grass is comparable to the air purifying effects of 1 mature tree. Well, comparable doesn't, you can compare anything. Is it compared in a good way? Is it equal to? Like, that's a weasel word. It doesn't really tell you anything, but it sounds like they're saying it's the same. but that's not quite what they're saying. Testimonials we talked about as well. There, anytime when somebody's saying why a certain product is great, it could be a famous person like in the milk ad, but it could just be ordinary folk. It can be really powerful when a celebrity does it, somebody you admire, like Sidney Crosby, Tiger Woods, whoever's popular these days. Here, California Closets has an ordinary person doing it. Everything was just perfect and exactly what we wanted. We're already getting another room done. Jennifer from Norwell, Massachusetts. I mean, I don't know Jennifer, you don't know Jennifer, but somehow the fact that a real person is saying it makes it sound more believable because it's not the advertiser saying it, it's this other random, completely innocent person. Famous people, again, kind of talks into, it can be a testimonial, but it can just be using their image. Like here we've got Jennifer Aniston, and it says living proof, stop the frizz. Now she's not talking, it's just her hair, and they're giving the idea that she must use this product. And if you want your hair to look as beautiful as her, you should use this product as well. And then over here, we've got Taylor Swift, and she's drinking pop. Now she's not saying anything about the Diet Coke. It's just kind of implied that she drinks it and loves it. And, you will also be as wonderful as she is if you drink Diet Coke. Beautiful people is similar, but not always exactly the same as celebrities are. Like not all celebrities are gorgeous, and not all beautiful people are necessarily celebrities, right? But they do get used to glamorize merchandise, especially unhealthy products like alcohol, tobacco, or junk food, right? There's a reason why we picked Taylor Swift to advertise Diet Coke, right? The thing is, models and actors generally have very rare body types. If you've ever seen a model in real life, they're usually much taller than ordinary and much skinnier than ordinary, right? They don't necessarily look how they look in their photographs. They don't really represent what average people look like, but idealized notions of beauty that change constantly from decade to decade, right? If you think about Marilyn Monroe, who was very popular in like 50s and 60s, she looks heavy compared to how we expect actresses to look now, right? And then, so you can see that here, like they're trying to sell the perfume. Ordinary people are people that are just like you and me, right? They aren't super ugly, they aren't super beautiful, they aren't super famous. They're just kind of ordinary. Really common in ads that stress community or family, like Walmart. Here they're trying to sell you health insurance, right? And they want to give across the idea that any ordinary Joe uses this. It's easy. This is when they want simple solutions that a product is going to solve all your problems, like bald spot hairspray is going to get you a date, or doorknob disinfectant wipes keep us healthy. Here, they're selling kind of a net bag and saying it's a simple solution to reduce plastic waste. It's certainly one part of a solution, right? But it kind of is put out by, let's see, EcoBath. Plastic has facilitated so many instances of innovation, it's difficult to avoid it altogether. Here are a few simple ways to reduce plastic pollution on the planet. I kind of feel skeptical that that's why they made this, right? It's one possibility, but I don't feel like that's the main reason. Femininity, we talked about that. Anything where a girl is looking super girly to sell a product to other girls. Teen makeup, alcohol ads, your underwear. Repetition. When they're doing the same word or phrase over and over again, like phone ads, you'll sometimes see them say the phone number over and over again. Here, they've got style, 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 modern, 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 modern. And look, typically it's 5, because 5 is known to be the number of repetitions that it takes before we remember something. So they're deliberately trying to access that memory code. Exotic is the appeal of the other. Other means anything out of where you live. Beach, I don't like that particular phrase. Strange, unknown, other places. So here they're just selling cigarettes, but they've got camel filters. It's a whole new world. And then they've got a guy in the background leaning on kind of a rusty old Jeep. Looks like he's exploring somewhere. I don't know if it's Australia or Africa or whatever. Like this is the cigarette that adventurers or explorers use, or you know, smoking this is like being in another country or something, right? Okay, macho. Oh, sorry, things moved over. Macho is generally used to appeal to males, but not exclusively. It will demonstrate masculinity and male stereotypes. These are common in military and tobacco ads. Now, I used some, these are older ones. They do still exist these days, although I find there's a lot of pushback against these. Here, they're using it to sell trucks. And here, Camel is once again using it to sell smokes. They've got a Chief Petty Officer, U.S. Coast Guard, and he's smoking, which again, back in the day would have been pretty common. But these days, I have trouble picturing that they would actually smoke and ruin their bodies that way. But like, again, it's a super masculine cigarette for super masculine men. Free lunch. The idea that you're getting something for free. Buy one, get one free. Buy one, get one 50% off. Buy one and get this extra toy. Tax cuts. They'll hook us in. There's usually hidden costs. Usually they just kind of raise the price of the original. Here would be one from McDonald's. McDonald's or Burger King, I can't quite see. Limited time deal, buy one, get one for $1. In the summertime, McDonald's will often do $1 drinks because they know that if you come by for the $1 drink, there's a really good chance you might also buy a hamburger, or your kids will want you to buy a hamburger. So they actually make money on it, even though it is a good deal. Good old days, that is where they're trying to appeal to the past and the nostalgia we often have for the past. Usually when they're doing this, they're trying to appeal to an older demographic, people who experienced those things when they're younger. So here they're trying to sell a necklace, and it's got a little bit of a 60s, 70s feel. Beads are back. And the idea being that older people might kind of want to buy this and help them remember their youth, right? Where are we? Flattery. Flattery is when you pick a product that will make you feel good about yourself as a consumer, and that you're making the right choice when you're choosing that product. Like, smart people like you always buy premium aquariums when purchasing exotic fish. And here's literally almost exactly the same idea. Smart ideas for smarter cities. The idea being that IBM is the computer or office products that smart people use. Social outcasts, that's generally put down or an insult about a competing product or cultural group or people who don't buy this product. So this is actually like a, what do you call it? An enlistment campaign where they're trying to encourage men to enlist during the First World War. And you see a man, presumably a father, and a young boy, and it says, "What will your answer be when your boy asks you, 'Father, what did you do to help when Britain fought for freedom in 1915? Enlist now." And the idea being like, won't you be ashamed to answer your son if you didn't sign up for the war, because you're going to look bad in your son's eyes? So kind of implied that you will look bad. And then surrealism. Surrealism is, there's kind of a magical, dreamlike feel to things that it's kind of based on a certain kind of art technique. If you've ever seen Dali's melting watches, that's kind of surrealism. You'll see it a lot of times in music videos and sometimes in ads to kind of catch people's attention by presenting you with something strange or different. So here they're selling this knife, and the knife, the tagline is "sharper than you think." And the picture is of a carrot on top of a wooden board. And rather than just cutting up slices of carrot, they've implied that the knife is so sharp, it cuts right through the carrot, right through the wooden board. So you see little slices of wooden board too. Obviously an exaggeration, obviously something that can't possibly happen, and not really intended to imply that it happens, but just implied to like capture your attention, right? So here's an example of what that poster might look like. Is I grabbed the Burger King one, and I tried to think of every possible hook that might apply. You don't want to just do one, every possible one, because they're trying to appeal to different people. And like some people might really be, hooked in by ordinary people. Older people might be more hooked in by good old days. This is their way of trying to attract different target audiences. So good old days, it's been flame grilled since 1954. So there's a little bit of a nostalgia there. Humor, their catchphrase is flame grilled since 1954. They're making kind of a joke about their burgers. Repetition, I don't know if you can see it, but on the posters on the building, it'll say, freshly made for you, freshly made for you, freshly made for you. They're doing that repetition thing there. Macho, firefighters, tough macho guys. If they hear, probably good for you. And also the idea of ordinary people, like because firefighters are still thought of as blue collar workers, right? They're not a celebrity. They're maybe rescuing this business because they like to eat here. Okay. So name the hook, show me where it is, and then explain how it relates to that specific one. Okay. This is the rubric, the marking scheme I use. I look for, did you show me that you understood the hooks? Did you explain how the hooks were used well? Is your poster nice and neat, or is it kind of messy? Have you explained all your hooks thoroughly? And as always, conventions. Conventions is spelling, punctuation, all that kind of idea. Okay. Assignment 29 is, what are they selling? There's two different ads you can choose. Ad A is the milk ad that we kind of looked at a little bit already. Ad B is the same milk ad, but with the Hulk, okay? The questions are exactly the same, okay? So it doesn't matter to me which one you pick. Don't do both of them because it doesn't really change anything. And they're both selling milk. It's both part of the Got Milk ad campaign, okay? So, okay, hang on, I just want to make sure. Make sure that these ads, yeah, okay. The older questions were a little bit different. I found they were kind of vague, so I tried to make these questions a little more clear. Explain the message in this advertisement, okay? So read it, look at it. What are they trying to sell? And what words are they using to convince you to buy it? Okay, words here. This is where I want you to think about the words. That's the important part there. Please choose whether the ad focuses on selling the product or selling the image. Now, I'm going to say something. Almost everybody tells me selling the product. If you're selling the product will be a big part of the ad. If you don't see the product anywhere in the ad, they're not selling the product. They're trying to sell you an image like, ooh, this is sexy. Ooh, this is tough. Ooh, this will make you beautiful, right? So if we're just kind of looking back, hang on a sec. So here, they're showing you a picture of the truck. They are trying to sell the product for sure, okay? Here, AIP treated grass. I mean, there is some grass, but is that AIP treated grass? I don't really even know. They aren't including it in the ad, I don't think. I would say this is one is selling the image, right? Here, the big part of the ad is the peace sign. The motorcycle is a tiny little part of the image. This one, I would say they're selling the image. Here, they're kind of more selling the product. So really think about that. Don't assume, okay, yeah, they're selling the product automatically. Really think about it, okay? And explain why you think that. Like I said, is the product being sold in an obvious manner? So here, Wendy's, it's a great big picture of the hamburger. Yes, they are selling the product. Here, great big picture of the car. They're selling the product. But here, now this is tricky. United Colors of Benetton, this is the product, like they are wearing the product. But if you don't know what Benetton was, you wouldn't know what they're selling. Like my father might look at this and go, I don't know what they're trying to sell me. Is it hats, hair pieces, sweaters? What is it, right? Here, Ford is talking about their rear view cameras, but there's not a single picture of a Ford in the ad. So they're selling an image rather than a product there. Who do you think the target audience is? Now, we've talked about audience before several times. So what age group do you think would be attracted by that particular ad? What gender? What interests? Income level, if that's important. Any other relevant criteria, right? Race, country, hobbies. It just really depends what they're trying to sell. 3 marks, 1 for each relevant criteria. That means I want you to tell me 3 things, okay? So tell me 3 criteria for the audience. Then tell me which part of the ad made you think it was aimed at that audience. Okay, so going back to here, right? I might say this is aimed at animal lovers. Why? Because it's showing a cute little puppy. People who don't like animals aren't going to find that a selling point, right? It wouldn't matter to them. Okay. Oops. Here, this is aimed at people who think of themselves as smart, right? People who are intellectual. Why? Because they're emphasizing the part about it being smart, and that's a key point. So that's part of who they are aiming at. Here, they're deliberately aiming at fathers, men who are of an age to be enlisted, right? So look at the ad and think about who are they aiming it at. A second. Okay, yeah, specific genders, age groups, income levels, hobbies, interests, lifestyle, or specific hooks they might respond to. Looking tough, feeling beautiful, ordinary people, all that kind of thing. Write a paragraph containing at least 4 sentences to describe what is pictured in the ad. So if somebody were blind and couldn't see it, describe it well enough that they could imagine it in their head, okay? 4 marks. That should be 4 sentences. 1 sentence for each thing. Okay. Remember to use adjectives. Tell me about what colors. Tell me about size. Tell me about your opinion. Tell me about the qualities you see. What kind of facial expressions? What kind of emotions? All those kind of ideas, okay? 5, what's the overall mood or vibe or atmosphere of the ad? Give me a word for that, and then a couple marks explaining for which parts of the ad contribute to that mood. Okay. Okay, so adjectives, yeah, can talk about opinion, size, age, color, numbers, origin, materials, or shape. Atmosphere could be things like dark and edgy, bright and hopeful, nostalgic, country, urban, cozy, modern, expensive, sexy, ugly, pretty, romantic, vintage, hippie, 50s. There's all sorts of words you can use for atmosphere, okay? Sorry, we're almost done here. Okay, I'm not going to go on any further because I think we've kind of run out of time. If you need help, reach out to me. I would be happy to help you. Try and send me in whatever you've got so far so I can get to marking things. And if you are a potential grad and are worried about whether you're going to finish, please contact me and we can have a conversation, try and figure out what is the biggest priority for you to get done. Okay. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good evening.